Before New Zealand had its own official money, people used many different types of coins. Early European settlers and traders brought their own currency with them. The most common coins were British, such as pounds, shillings, and pence. However, it was not unusual to see coins from other countries as well. French francs, Dutch guilders, and even American dollars circulated in the growing settlements. This mixture of foreign money made daily trade quite complicated. Shopkeepers and customers had to agree on the value of each coin, which could change from one town to the next. It was a confusing system for everyone involved in buying and selling goods. After the Treaty of Waitangi was signed in 1840, New Zealand officially became a British colony. Despite this new status, the country did not immediately get its own currency. The British government decided that British coins would be the legal tender. This meant that by law, people had to accept British money for payments. For nearly a century, New Zealand relied almost entirely on these imported coins. This long delay happened for several reasons. Creating a new coinage was an expensive and complex process. London officials did not see an urgent need to change the system as long as British money was available for use across the colony. The reliance on foreign currency created ongoing problems for the local economy. Sometimes there was a shortage of coins, especially small change like pennies and halfpennies. This made it difficult for people to complete simple transactions. To solve this problem, some private businesses and traders started making their own tokens in the mid-19th century. These tokens were not official money, but were accepted in local areas. They were often made of copper and had the name of the business on them. This temporary solution showed that New Zealand needed a more reliable and consistent supply of its own money to support its growing population and economy. The situation became even more difficult during the early 20th century. The global economic downturn known as the Great Depression created more financial instability. The value of silver changed, which affected the British coins that were made of silver. Furthermore, Australia, a close trading partner, had already introduced its own separate coinage in 1910. This put more pressure on New Zealand to take control of its own monetary system. The government realized that having its own distinct coins was no longer just a matter of convenience. It was a necessary step towards building a stronger and more independent nation. The call for a national currency grew louder than ever before. The push for a national currency finally led to action in the early 1930s. The New Zealand government passed the Coinage Act in 1933, which gave it the authority to issue its own official coins. The main reason for this change was the economic hardship of the Great Depression. The government wanted more control over its money supply to help stabilize the economy. By creating its own coins, New Zealand could manage its finances better and reduce its dependence on Britain. This was a very important moment in the country's history. It marked a significant move towards greater self-governance and economic independence from the British Empire. The first official coin struck for New Zealand was the 1933 penny. This coin was a powerful symbol of the country's new direction. On one side, known as the obverse, it featured the crowned effigy of King George V, which was a legal requirement for a dominion of the British Empire. This showed that New Zealand was still part of the Commonwealth. However, the other side, the reverse, was uniquely New Zealander. It was designed to represent the nation's own identity. The decision to create this coin was a practical one, but it also carried deep symbolic meaning for the people of New Zealand. The design on the reverse of the 1933 penny was simple yet meaningful. It featured a tui, a native bird known for its beautiful song and distinctive white throat tufts. The tui was perched on a branch of a cowhide tree, which is famous for its bright yellow flowers. These images were chosen because they were instantly recognizable symbols of New Zealand's natural environment. Below the bird, the words New Zealand and 1 penny were clearly written, along with the year 1933. This design, created by British artist George Kruger Gray, successfully blended the country's connection to Britain with its unique local character. The introduction of the new coins was a major step in making daily trade easier and more efficient. With a standard set of national coins, people no longer had to worry about the value of different foreign currencies. Every coin had a fixed value that was the same across the entire country. This helped the economy to run more smoothly. It also boosted national pride. For the first time, New Zealanders had money that truly represented their own country. The new penny and the coins that followed were not just pieces of metal. They were emblems of a growing nation finding its place in the world. Following the successful introduction of the penny, New Zealand released a full series of coins between 1933 and 1935. This first set included 6 denominations in total. The 2 bronze coins were the penny and the halfpenny, which were used for small purchases. The other 4 coins were made of 50% silver and had higher values. The 3pence, 6pence, shilling and florin, which was worth 2 shillings. Each coin featured the same portrait of King George V on the obverse side, maintaining the link to the British Crown. The reverse sides, however, were dedicated to showcasing New Zealand's unique heritage, wildlife and culture. The designs on these coins were very important for building a sense of national identity. They moved away from traditional European symbols and instead embraced things that were special to New Zealand. The florin, for example, displayed a kiwi, the country's most famous flightless bird. The shilling featured a striking image of a Māori warrior, or toa, holding a taiaha, a traditional weapon. This was a significant inclusion, as it formally recognized the importance of Māori culture to the nation's identity on its currency. These choices showed a deliberate effort to create coins that were for all New Zealanders, reflecting both its British colonial history and its indigenous roots. The smaller coins also carried powerful symbols. The 6pence was decorated with the image of a huia, another native bird, which sadly was already believed to be extinct by that time. Its inclusion on the coin served as a memorial to the country's lost treasures. The 3pence featured crossed patu, which are short, flat Maori clubs used as weapons. These designs were not just decorative, they told a story about New Zealand. They celebrated its natural wonders, acknowledged its native people, and remembered its past. Using these images helped foster a shared identity and a sense of pride among the population. The complete series represented a careful balance. The materials, weights, and sizes of the coins were based on the British system, making them familiar and easy to adopt. However, the imagery was purely local. This blend of British tradition and New Zealand culture was a perfect reflection of the country's status at the time, a self-governing dominion with its own distinct character but still part of a wider empire. The coins were a tangible, everyday reminder of this dual identity. They were a declaration that New Zealand was a nation with its own story to tell, a story now held in the hands of its people. The coin series that began in 1933 served New Zealand well for over 3 decades. But the world was changing, and many countries were moving to a simpler, more modern monetary system. On July 10, 1967, New Zealand underwent a major change known as decimalisation. The old and complex system of pounds, shillings and pence was replaced by dollars and cents. £1 became $2, 1 shilling became 10 cents, and so on. This switch made financial calculations much easier for everyone, from school children to businesses. All the old pre-decimal coins, including the original 1933 series, were officially withdrawn from circulation. The new decimal coins continued the tradition of featuring New Zealand's native wildlife, but with fresh designs. The kiwi moved to the new $1 coin, and other animals like the tuatara and the kutuku, or white heron, appeared on the new cents. The portrait on the obverse was updated to that of Queen Elizabeth II. While the currency changed, the idea of using money to express national identity remained strong. The transition was a success, and it marked another important step in New Zealand's journey as an independent nation, aligning its currency with most other countries around the world. Today, the pre-decimal coins are no longer used as money, but they have become valuable to collectors. Their historical significance and beautiful designs make them highly sought after. Some coins are particularly rare and can be worth a lot of money. For example, the 1935 issue is famous because very few coins were made that year, and they were only included in special sets, not for general circulation. A 1935 penny or florin in good condition is a prized possession for any coin collector. These rare coins are a direct link to a pivotal moment in New Zealand's past. The legacy of New Zealand's first coins is much greater than their monetary value. They represent the country's bold step towards defining itself on its own terms. By choosing to feature Maori symbols and native fauna, New Zealand made a powerful statement about what it valued as a nation. These coins helped unify the country, simplify its economy, and foster a sense of pride that continues to this day. They are not just historical artifacts. They are the foundation of New Zealand's modern currency and a timeless celebration of its unique identity.